Hello again. This is a video concerning Severance Season 2, Episode 2. I'm not attached to the show in any way. I'm not getting paid for this, even though I wish I was. This is my opinion series, and I'll be working off of my notes as per usual. What has become the usual. But first, I'm going to cover a couple of things from the first episode. I never even covered the bribe. And what I mean is when Milchick takes Dylan into that room, that hidden room, which I didn't even notice until today when I watched part of episode 1, season 1, that when Mark goes into Harmony's office for his promotion, she's coming out of that door. But anyway, so of course that's super shady that he's bribing Dylan. And for sure, if that room ever does get used with Dylan in it, you can pretty much guarantee that whoever is brought in will not be his actual family. Because that's the Lumen way. So yeah, I was sickened by that. You know, and also I think maybe the people who are chosen for MDR may be chosen depending on their personality types, because Gwen kind of reminds me of Dylan, and Mark W. kind of reminds me of Irving. Just saying. And it does seem like a very short time between the escape and everybody coming back. So it's really reading like that. Okay, so let's get into episode 2. I should have known that the Cobell promotion was going to be a thing because Lumen's evil. Or at least very much appears that way. It doesn't, like, you can't right now, I can't read it as anything else. And it's clear that she knows a lot. And her reaction to being offered this promotion and not wanting to work anywhere other than the Severance floor really gives the feeling that she was telling the truth when she said, you're afraid of me. And it's like, in every good show and every good movie, you either have to have some big problem that is not necessarily connected to the people, or a good villain. So it makes sense for her to still be there. Mr. Drummond, the guy that's now being seen with Audi Helly, so far he acts like a bodyguard, a spy, a personal assistant, and Helly moves and speaks like royalty. He moves in such a silent way, as if he sees himself as subservient by birth with the loyalty of a dog. Excuse me. In fact, he has a tattoo on his hand, on the inside of his hand. Where is it? Frolic, like right here, which is shown in the scene when he's spying on Devin and Mark in Pips. And it's very possible that he was the one that was following Petey around and not Grainer, because Grainer would be easier for Petey to spot than some random stranger that he probably didn't know. And until escape night, Devin wanted Mark to quit according to their conversation. And she just wants to confirm that his any meant Gemma, because she wants Gemma to be alive, clearly. But Mark insisted that he confirm the body. At the same time, it sounds like Gemma's body was burned. So it's very possible, very likely, that Gemma was instead kidnapped or is like Cobell attached to the company in some other way, and they used a cadaver in place of her. Because like if she's, I'm, it's gonna be interesting to find out how he identified a burned body. I'm just saying. Helly's public apology, it sounded laced with soft indirect threats to Lumen employees and their families. And there have been public apologies before with real companies in real life that had that sound to it, which is really creepy. And it's not like it's impossible, and for sure it's happened at least once. The scene where I want to say when Mark left the meeting with Milchick from Devin's house, I think that's the scene where you see his house and there's the moon and it looks super duper fake. And it was giving vivarium, if you've ever seen that. It just looked like it was made out of paper. And that may be significant later. While reviewing video, Audi Helly rings shocked by any Helly stolen kiss. Maybe she's very emotionally repressed and has never kissed anyone, or really plans on using it as ammo and in the way that any typical villain would, with all the malice and hate that goes with it. And I'm going with that last possibility because I'm starting to like Helly less and less. Dylan's interview. The guy, suspiciously, it looks a lot like Dylan, like an older version of Dylan, or like he could be a close relative. And I wasn't shocked, but I was saddened by the fact that that guy discriminated against him for being severed. So, and it just, the whole thing fell apart and I felt bad for him. Though at the same time, I don't know how I feel about how he talked to his wife. I don't know. That made me feel uncomfortable. Irving left his apartment to make to go to a payphone to make a call. And I'm guessing so the call couldn't be traced or couldn't be traced directly to him. And he said in part, my innie got the message. Meanwhile, Bert saw him at the phone booth. And there is this feeling that Bert is connected to Lumen beyond simply being severed and a former employee. And he looked like either angry or like he'd been crying or something. So I'm really wondering what happened after everybody got switched back. And also, when Irving was being fired, he told Milchick that nothing of note had happened on escape night yet. Again, he would have been on Bert's porch screaming like a crazed lunatic before they got switched back over. And he was across town, so something definitely happened. But I'm guessing that Lumen probably could confirm that he wasn't where he said he was because they can trace them because of the implants. And at the same time, it appears that Bert didn't report the yelling stranger to the company that he retired from. When Milchick makes the second visit to Audi Mark, he offers him 20% more to stay with the company. He claims that his innie is happy. He blames the reason for innie Mark escaping on Harmony and tells them that he's found love, all in a concentrated effort to get him to stay. This also means that the company saw him as a necessary component to their ends and that they thought they could just give him a new team to complete the task, which that clearly did not work out the way they planned. Which is why, and it's crazy that Milchick said that they chose not to come back when in fact they were fired, other than Helly. The newbies were brought in specifically for Mark so the company could complete Cold Harbor, whatever that is. When bringing the new crew back, Lumen fired the old crew. And of them, Mark Wilkins and Gwen, who were from Branch 5X, had been laid off from there. And it sounds as if they were from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I overheard the security say his last name, called him Mr. Wilkins. When the announcement was made in the meeting that the original crew would all have to come back, Helly looked sick to her stomach. But also, what did I want to say about that? Yeah, he was complaining about he had to break his lease. And there was a scene where he said that his crew never made quota, and that might be why they got laid off to begin with. Mark catches Harmony moving out at night at the end. And he jumps in front of her car and he asks her if she knows anything about Gemma. And the look on her face appears to give away the answer, because I would have read that as, yeah, she does know. And of course she did, but it was almost like she was trying to help him against her better judgment. It was like she confirmed, yes, I know about Gemma. No, I don't really want to tell you, but I feel like you should know. But I'm not going to tell you directly, so I'm just not going to say anything and then scream and then try to run you over. And under those circumstances, even though it was tense, a normal person in their, like, let's say in their situation, everything between them happened the same way, except they weren't involved with Lumen and they weren't involved with some crazy company. A normal response would have been, what do you mean? You're insane. What do you mean? Your wife is, you told me your wife is dead. You know, I didn't know her. Like, what do you mean? And lastly, hopefully Devin listened very carefully and caught on that Milchick said in that first meeting with Audi Mark. Milchick said that Harmony will never descend to that floor again, nor bedevil you out here any further. But he never said or suggested in any way that she would see any consequences, or that she had been or would be fired. Hopefully Devin caught that. I also suspect that his motorcycle helmet that Rickon commented on, I bet it has a camera and a microphone in it. So yeah.